All rise. The Commission on Judicial Appointments is now in session. The Honorable Patricia Guerrero presiding. You may be seated.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the public hearing of the Commission on Judicial Appointments. As Chief Justice of California, I serve as chair of the commission. The other members of the commission are Attorney General Rob Bonta, who's appearing remotely, and Presiding Justice Arthur Gilbert. And Janelle Baker serves as secretary to the commission. This hearing is to consider Governor Gavin Newsom's appointment of Judge Ann K. Richardson to the Office of Associate Justice for the 2nd District Court of Appeal, Division 2. The commission is in receipt of a letter from Governor Newsom appointing Judge Richardson to fill a vacancy that was just recently created by the elevation of Justice Brian Hofstad to presiding justice. Phew, that worked out. The state constitution specifies that an appointment by the governor to the Court of Appeal is effective when confirmed by the Commission on Judicial Appointments. The Commission has received correspondence pertaining to this appointment, and we made these letters available to the public and to the press a few days ago. Pursuant to a request by Governor Newsom, the State Bar's Commission on Judicial Nominees Evaluation has undertaken an evaluation of the qualifications of Judge Richardson for this position. Ms. Chaya Malik, the chair of the commission, is present to share the results of that evaluation later in these proceedings. Judge Richardson has asked that the following persons be called to testify on her behalf. I will list you now and then call on each speaker separately to come to the podium. First, we welcome the Honorable Virginia Keeny, a judge with the Superior Court of California for the County of Los Angeles. We also welcome the Honorable Margaret M. Morrow, retired judge, U.S. District Court for the the Central District of California, and the Honorable Samantha Jessner, presiding judge with the Los Angeles Superior Court. We now invite Judge Keeny to the podium.
Good afternoon, Chief Justice Guerrero, Presiding Justice Gilbert, and Attorney General Bonta. It is a pleasure and great honor to speak in support of my friend and colleague, the Honorable Ann Richardson. I have had the great good fortune to know Judge Richardson for nearly 40 years. We were students together at Stanford Law School in the 1980s, where she demonstrated academic excellence, a commitment to public interest law, serving on the board of the Stanford Public Interest Foundation, and a dedication to legal scholarship as an assistant editor to the Stanford Law Review. After a clerkship with the Honorable Mariana Felser, Judge Richardson joined the law offices of Litt & Stormer, a small civil rights firm in Los Angeles, on a public interest fellowship, where I too was a fellow. When our fellowships ended, I wisely followed Judge Richardson to the newly formed firm of Hadsell & Stormer. We worked together at this extraordinarily innovative and courageous civil rights firm for nearly 20 years, first as associates and then as partners. There she learned how to litigate and manage complex civil cases, how to move comfortably in state and federal courts, and how to hone her appellate advocacy. Our interlaced careers have given me a front row seat to watch Judge Richardson's development into the formidable legal thinker and jurist that she now is. She exemplifies the melding of scholar and pragmatic problem solver. During the time she was at Hadsell & Stormer, she took on the most challenging cases, traveling repeatedly to the refugee camps of Thailand to litigate a novel international human rights case against Unicao and the government of Myanmar, and to the military prison at Guantanamo Bay to represent the interests of an Afghani prisoner detained there for 14 years. She was tenacious in representing her clients' interests, taking depositions at the refugee camps in extremely difficult conditions, and spending nights in sweltering barracks at Gitmo just waiting to be able to speak to her client. Her dedication to her clients, to securing the full protection of the laws, and to the search for justice was unparalleled, leading to her recognition twice with the California Attorney of the Year Award by California Lawyer and by the ACLU in 2006 with its Pro Bono Award. Although we were a plaintiff-side firm, Judge Richardson built an excellent reputation with defense counsel. She was seen as fair, professional, and willing to compromise. She always has had the ability to work across the aisle, as it were, building consensus, persuading naysayers, and leading by example. She is an elegant writer and a dedicated legal scholar. At one point, we thought we would lose her to academia, but fortunately, we were able to keep her as a practicing lawyer. Nevertheless, teaching and studying developments in the law is one of the things that Judge Richardson relishes most. She is taught as an adjunct professor at Loyola, teaching civil rights litigation as well as appellate advocacy, as well as at the Irvine School of Law, where she also has taught appellate advocacy. But there is more to Judge Richardson than her extraordinary legal career. She is a deceivingly mild-mannered person, but behind that lies a person who embraces adventure and challenge. She earned a private pilot's license when she was only 19, just because it was something she wanted to do. And she traveled to El Salvador in 1994 as an election observer at a time of violence and great uncertainty as that country held its first election after the end of the Civil War. She is a prolific reader and has started more book groups and inspired more reading and discussion groups than anyone I know. In sum, Judge Richardson brings all the attributes that one would want for an appellate justice: her personal courage, her intellect and curiosity, her ability to compromise, and her gifts as a teacher are the guideposts that will serve her well on the Court of Appeal. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on her behalf, and I am prepared to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much for your thoughtful comments here today. There do not appear to be any questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We next invite Judge Morrow to the podium.
Chief Justice Guerrero, Attorney General Bonta, Presiding Justice Gilbert. I am honored to speak today in support of Governor Gavin Newsom's nomination of Ann Richardson to Division II of the 2nd District Court of Appeals. She is an exceptional candidate who will bring a wealth of experience, knowledge, and judgment to the court. I have known Judge Richardson since 2016, when I was named the president and CEO of Public Counsel. For those of you who may not know, Public Counsel is a nonprofit public interest law firm that represents low-income clients, including low-wage workers, veterans, children, the unhoused, and people facing eviction. When I arrived, Ann was the Associate Director of Public Counsel's nationwide impact litigation project. Almost immediately, I asked her to step in as directing attorney of the Consumer Law Project. That project needed a leader with strong litigation skills and the ability to mentor young lawyers on the team. I had been immediately impressed with Ann's thoughtful approach to problem solving and by the calm manner in which she addressed management challenges and litigation deadlines. I knew she would be the perfect choice for this role. I was privileged to work with her for the next 3 years, serving as her immediate supervisor and benefiting from her guidance as a member of my leadership team. As I got to know her legal work better, I was struck by her strong analytic skills, her clear and cogent writing, and her ability to think practically about desired outcomes in the cases she filed. During her public counsel years, Ann received her second California Lawyer Attorney of the Year award. These awards are prestigious, and it's indicative of Ann's talent that she's received 2 of them. The award recognized her work on a case called Rodriguez versus the City of Los Angeles, which challenged unconstitutionally vague language regarding curfews in 26 gang injunctions, and which was settled when the City of LA agreed to pay $30 million in job training and apprenticeship benefits for class members, as well as to implement an expedited process for the removal of individuals who were erroneously included on the gang injunctions list. You've heard about the Guantanamo case. Ann continued her work on that case while she was at Public Counsel, finally securing her client's ability to return to Afghanistan after many, many years. As I think is evident from just these 2 examples, Anne takes on matters or took on matters of significance that took years to prosecute, required patient developments of the facts and careful crafting of winning legal arguments. These cases are evidence of the quality of the legal mind that Anne possesses. Anne is intellectually curious and a quick study when called upon to learn and master new subject matter. She's a prolific writer, as the number of treatises, articles, and book reviews that are in her resume demonstrates. And she's a self-professed law nerd. Together, her cases, her teaching, and her writing demonstrate that she understands the importance of developing the law in a rational and coherent fashion. And speaking both as a practitioner and a former trial judge, I can't emphasize strongly enough how critical this skill is in an appellate justice. Also important is the ability to craft legal rules that are practical and understandable. Law nerds can sometimes be overly theoretical, but not Anne. Given her many years advocating in the courtroom and reasoning and persuading in settlement rooms, and most recently handling a high-volume family law assignment in Superior Court, Anne is nothing if not practical, seamlessly blending encyclopedic legal knowledge with common sense. Anne has other qualities as well that will make her an excellent addition to the Court of Appeals. She has a strong work ethic and is efficient in completing tasks. She's collegial, collaborative, and open to others' ideas, and enjoys engaging in dialogue concerning legal issues. In terms of temperament, she is measured, respectful, and treats all counsel and litigants with respect. Anne will also be an excellent mentor to her externs and her staff. At public counsel, she was always willing to consult with younger lawyers who sought her opinion on a case, whether or not it was a matter for which she had responsibility. More than once, she agreed to be staffed on matters from other projects in order to help a litigation team that needed more direction. In short, Anne is an extraordinary candidate who will add luster to the 2nd District. I commend her to you highly and without reservation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Judge Morrow, for your very compelling summary of her professional and personal attributes. We very much appreciate it. And we now welcome Presiding Judge Jessner to the podium.
My instinct is to start by saying, may it please the court, because that was about the last time I stood somewhere like this. But instead, I will thank Chief Justice Guerrero, Attorney General Bonta, and Presiding Justice Gilbert for this opportunity. I'm honored to speak in support of my colleague, the Honorable Anne Richardson, at her confirmation hearing for the position of Associate Justice in Division II of the 2nd Appellate District. As you heard, I am the presiding judge of the Los Angeles Superior Court, and I've had the privilege of working with Anne since she joined the court in 2018. I will try not to repeat what Judge Morrow and Judge Keeny have already shared with you about Anne's talents and successes as a civil litigator and advocate for the underrepresented and underserved. Instead, I will attempt to pick up where they left off and talk about Anne's very successful tenure on the Los Angeles Superior Court and why I believe Governor Newsom has made a brilliant choice in nominating Anne to the Court of Appeal. She began her tenure with the court in the Family Law Division downtown. I probably don't need to tell this crowd that family law is among the most challenging assignments on the court for a number of reasons, including that the litigants are experiencing extreme stress and emotions as their marriages have fallen apart, assets must be divided, and custody of children must be determined. In addition, many litigants are self-represented, and the dockets are among the largest in the state. Anne, like many new judges assigned to family law, had no prior experience with family law cases or the law in this area. Characteristically, this did not deter her from embracing the subject matter, learning the law, and later teaching it to fellow judges and the legal community. Anne relied on her keen intellect, her inquisitiveness about the law, her deep dedication to finding the right answer, and her abiding respect for the litigants who came before her. After more than 4 years in family law, Anne expressed an interest to move to the civil division. There was no doubt in my mind or the minds of the other supervising judges who were involved in deciding assignments that she would excel in a civil independent calendar courtroom. At the same time, there was disappointment that Anne wanted to leave family law, both from her colleagues and from the bar. Many of us envisioned Anne taking on a leadership role in the family law division, and the bar lamented the departure of a smart, hardworking, and fair judge. I was happy, however, to be able to assign Anne to a civil independent calendar courtroom. Not surprisingly, she flourished over the last nearly 2 years, especially with regard to her embrace of presiding over jury trials. I engaged in a bit of crowdsourcing, admittedly, in preparing these remarks, and after hearing from a couple of colleagues, I started to hear the same attributes and descriptions repeated. One of the supervising judges in the family law division told me that there are 3 things about Anne that made her an amazing family law jurist. The first is her temperament, her polite manner, her carefully chosen words, and her genuine desire to help resolve disputes helped calm an environment where emotions usually run high. The second is her intellect and meticulous preparation. Counsel and litigants felt their submissions and evidence were thoughtfully considered and analyzed. Her rulings, even when not favorable to a particular party, were well received as they were wholly consistent with the law and the evidence. Many in the family law bar were truly sad to see her leave the division. Lastly, Anne contributed to the family law division through the training she presented at monthly meetings and annual bench seminars, the articles she authored, a project she oversaw to reform all the bench officer worksheets, and daily consultations on nuanced issues with colleagues, which made her beloved by all. Even after she left the family law division, she was always willing to assist when needed. One of her civil supervising judges recalled that when Anne reached out with questions or guidance, it was because the question or issue was novel or unusual. And each time she had already given considerable thought to it before reaching out, had largely come up with the answer herself and just needed to talk it through. Another supervising judge said that she has reached out to Anne to pick her brain on a thorny motion for summary judgment or other employment issue and described her as super smart and always willing to help. From the perspective of the presiding judge and many other judges, Anne excelled on the Los Angeles Superior Court and had a very bright future. In both the family law and civil divisions, various work groups and committees have been formed to examine, consider, and improve operations, forms, technology platforms, and more. Anne was often asked to join these committees, not only because of her intelligence, but also because she was practical in her thinking, was open to new ideas, came to meetings prepared, and with new ways to think about issues, and was a joy to work with. I recently selected her to be a judicial coach, but the governor called instead. Appellate writing and research suits Anne. One supervising judge with whom I spoke told me that Anne was his appellate advocacy professor when he was in law school and described her as a terrific professor. And of course, she served as a pro tem justice here and wrote 14 opinions during her tenure. While we at the Los Angeles Superior Court are sad to see Anne go, we are happy that she will be doing something that she has always had a passion for. We have no doubt that she will excel as a justice of the Court of Appeal. We look forward to reading her erudite decisions, The clarity of her writing, along with the depth of her understanding of nuanced issues and the workings of a trial court, will undoubtedly be appreciated by all. Anne will be missed, but I am comforted by the fact that she will continue to serve the people of the state of California and the judiciary in a way that will make us proud and grateful to have had the opportunity to get to know her and work with her. Her unparalleled work ethic and passion for jurisprudence proved invaluable on the trial court and will continue to do so as she embarks on this next phase of her professional career. Anne, congratulations and good wishes from the Los Angeles Superior Court. You will no doubt continue to do great things in your new position as an Associate Justice for Division II of the 2nd District of the Court of Appeal. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Judge Jessner, for being here with us to share your informative feedback and also the views of your colleagues, which we very much appreciate. The Commission now invites the Chair of the Judicial Nominees Evaluation Commission, Ms. Malik, for the report of the evaluation that was conducted.
This is the third time I'm up here today, and it still remains an absolute privilege to present here. Thank you, Chief Justice Guerrero, Presiding Justice Gilbert, and Attorney General Bonta for giving me the privilege to present this report on behalf of the Commission of Judicial Nominee Evaluation to summarize the basis of the Commission's rating of Judge Ann K. Richardson for the Office of Associate Justice of the Court of Appeal, 2nd Appellate District, Division II. The Jenny Commission conducted its evaluation of Judge Richardson in April of 2024, unanimously finding her to be exceptionally well qualified for service on the 2nd District Court of Appeal. According to Commission rules, that rating reflects the Commission's determination that Judge Richardson possesses qualities and attributes of remarkable and extraordinary superiority that enable her to perform the appellate judicial function with distinction. Judge Richardson has served on the Los Angeles County Superior Court since 2018, as we just heard, overseeing all aspects of family law cases, including trials and more recently in the civil division. Originally from Boston, Judge Richardson's family later moved to Denver, where her father taught American literature as a professor. Her mother, an active volunteer for various social and political causes, instilled in Judge Richardson a deep commitment to excellence in public service. Judge Richardson returned to the East Coast to attend Swarthmore College from 1980 to 1984, earning a BA in philosophy. After graduation, she took time off, as we've heard, to travel through Central and South America and Mexico to immerse herself in the Spanish language. In 1989, she graduated with distinction from Stanford Law School, launching her legal career as a law clerk for the Honorable Mariana R. Falzer at the United States District Court for the Central District of California. Following her clerkship, Judge Richardson embarked on a distinguished career, beginning as a public interest fellow at Litton Stormer, where she focused on employment discrimination and civil rights cases. In 1993, she joined Hadsell and Stormer as an associate, becoming a partner in 1998. In 2014, she took on the role of the director of the Consumer Law Project at Public Counsel, where she oversaw a broad spectrum of civil rights cases benefiting low-income consumers in Los Angeles County. Throughout her illustrious career, Judge Richardson has been involved in several landmark civil rights cases. Notably, in the early 2000s, she played a crucial role in a significant litigation case representing 13 Burmese nationals facing human rights violations, which resulted in compensation for the plaintiffs and funding for programs designed to improve living conditions, healthcare, and education in Myanmar. Additionally, she served as lead counsel in a groundbreaking lawsuit against the city of Los Angeles that challenged the constitutionality of curfew provisions and gang injunctions. This case resulted in a historic settlement that provided essential funding for jobs and educational programs benefiting hundreds of individuals affected by those injunctions. Currently, Judge Richardson presides over a variety of civil cases on her unlimited civil independent calendar. She exemplifies leadership through her involvement in several committees, including education, ethics review and comment, domestic violence, law clerk selection, access and fairness, and mentorship. Before her appointment to the bench, she taught courses in civil rights, appellate advocacy, and appellate law clinics at the Whittier Law School, Loyola Law School, and the University of California Irvine School of Law. Through her role on the Judicial Education Outreach Committee, Judge Richardson actively works to eliminate bias and engage high school students in underserved communities, enhancing the pipeline to law school and supporting the next generation of judges. Judge Richardson has also contributed her expertise as a pro tem justice for the 2nd Appellate District, where she personally wrote and issued approximately 15 unpublished decisions within just a 3-month period. The Commission's investigation revealed that Judge Richardson is an experienced bench officer with an uncommon intellectual curiosity and sophistication. She is widely praised for her patience with litigants, especially those representing themselves, and is described as thorough, contemplative, and open-minded. A recognized leader on the bench, she serves as a mentor to new judges and is deeply committed to access to justice. The Commission recognizes her extraordinary qualities that equip her for the appellate judicial role, noting her introspection, humility, and thoroughness. Judge Richardson has expressed her aspiration to bring as much emotional intelligence as intellectual intelligence to the bench. The Commission believes she embodies this ideal, demonstrating a remarkable balance of both qualities. For these reasons, the Commission believes Judge Richardson is exceptionally well qualified as Associate Justice of the 2nd District Court of Appeal, Division II, should she be confirmed. Thank you.
Thank you again so much for your report and for the work of your commission. We now invite Judge Richardson to present a statement, if you wish, and to answer any questions that the commission may have.
All right. Thank you. Good afternoon, Chief Justice Guerrero, Attorney General Bonta, Presiding Justice Gilbert. I am honored by the remarks, both oral and written, that have preceded me. I will submit on the record, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Well, I do have a couple. I've asked this of other nominees as well. I've noticed your background, which is really quite remarkable. You have a bachelor's degree in philosophy, and your father taught American literature, and since I'm an old lit major and actually went to graduate school, but I didn't stay to get the degree because I passed the bar and I got this job, and well, enough about me. Let's talk about you. So I'm interested to know, with the traveling you've done and the philosophy, the broad-based background you've had in the humanities, to what extent you feel that has informed your decision-making as a judge?
Well, thank you. It is an interesting question that we could spend hours discussing, but
We may do that in the future.
I do find that a liberal arts degree is a fabulous beginning to understanding humanity and to understanding what makes people tick. And I remember my father talking about his love of ancient literature and noticing that humankind hasn't really changed that much. The circumstances we face change, but the ability to study what, for example, in philosophy, ethics, moral philosophy, how should we make decisions, the ability to study literature and to be exposed to people and environments totally different from our own. I think all of these help us to become broader people, which is what I think the liberal arts education is designed for, so that we can understand more than just the little patch of earth where we happen to be. There's lots more I could say, but I'm mindful of the time.
That was perfect. Thank you. Attorney General Bonta? Well, did you have, it looked like he had more
I
questions.
think that's enough.
Okay.
We could go on. We'll save it for another time.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Attorney General Bonta?
Yeah, thank you, Judge Richardson. Honored to be part of this hearing, and had a question around your very long and distinguished career as a litigator or practitioner. being in front of many judges and now that you're a judge, are there certain traits that you have sought or characteristics that you've sought to emulate, and maybe are there some that you sought to avoid?
Yes, very, very interesting question as well. There are many role models, some of whom are in this room today. And what I aspired to be when I joined the Superior Court was to be someone who would embody those ideals. Someone who is prepared in advance, who has read the papers and can let the parties know that you've read the record and can embody that. Someone who is calm and is not going to reflect in a perhaps casual or less than dignified respect, shall we say. Someone who is really thoughtful about all of the different perspectives. I found that in family law to be very important, that different people might have different parts of the puzzle, and it wasn't always easy to find the one person who was telling the truth, for example. And all of that then to say, to prepare a well-written or well-spoken decision, to make it include all of those factors that you had in fact considered, and then to impress the parties that are reading it or listening to it that you have heard them. So those are qualities that I tried to emulate. I tried to be the kind of judge I would have wanted to appear in front of. That was, in fact, my goal.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Attorney General Bonta. We heard some questions focusing on your educational background and your litigation experience. I want to now ask you about your experience as a trial court judge. And I wanted you to explain, if you could, how that experience has informed your work, or how you expect it will inform your work as an appellate justice.
Thank you. I don't think anyone, before they become a Superior Court judge, or a trial court judge in general, can understand just what it's like to sit on the bench, to know how many cases that are confronted by that judge every day, to know what the pressures are, to know what is going on in the room beyond just the cold record. I think that it really teaches you the breadth of difficulties that the Superior Court judge is facing, and to also have respect for, even more respect for the idea of discretion. When is that appropriate, and when is something an actual error that needs to be reversed? So I think that serving on the Superior Court bench is nothing but positive to becoming someone that is then trying to analyze those opinions. And I also hope to really make sure that I am aware of the people behind the briefs, the actual litigants themselves, and the people who are bringing their conflicts to the Court of Appeal.
Thank you very much for your response. This completes the list of witnesses who are testifying here today. Are the members of the commission prepared to vote?
Yes.
Yes.
All in favor of confirming Judge Ann Richardson for this position, please say aye.
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 It's unanimous. On this record and the correspondence received, the commission finds Judge Ann Richardson qualified to be an Associate Justice for the 2nd District Court of Appeal, Division 2. We confirm her appointment. Congratulations, Justice Richardson.
Thank you so much.
The formal portion of the hearing is now adjourned, but we welcome you to stay for the administration of an oath that Justice Richardson has asked me to perform, and we'll do that in a few minutes after signing some paperwork. Thank you. Okay, I am honored now to administer the oath of office. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Ann Richardson,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties on which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you all so much. I am truly, truly overwhelmed. Can everyone hear me as I stand? Okay, great. I have a few thank yous to make. I would first like to thank Governor Gavin Newsom for nominating me to this position, and to Judicial Appointments Secretary Luis Cespedes, Deputy Secretary Adam Hoffman, and Deputy Debbie Kuhn for all their hard work and dedication to develop a skilled, hardworking, and representative judiciary for all Californians. I'd like to thank the members of the Commission on Judicial Appointments, Chief Justice Guerrero, Attorney General Bonta, and Presiding Justice Gilbert for their time and consideration. Thank you to Janelle Baker and Melissa Ceballos, and to all the court staff and members of the California Highway Patrol who helped to make this event happen. I want to thank all the members of the Jenny Commission, and particularly Chair Chaya Malik and co-commissioners Lorena Peñalosa, Ugochi Anabir Nicholson, and Matthew Barnakia. I'd like to thank the Governor's Judicial Selection Committee, as well as the State Appellate Judicial Evaluation Committee of the Los Angeles County Bar. I would like to thank all those who wrote letters on my behalf. The Unity Bars for the County of Los Angeles, Ventura, Santa Barbara, San Luis Obispo, Yolo, and Stanislaus, and the San Diego La Raza Lawyers Association. What a beautiful letter you wrote. Judge Holly Thomas of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeal is here today, with whom I learned how to be a judge in the Family Law Division back in the LA Superior Court, and who is now doing great things on the Ninth Circuit. Judge Sergio Tapia, the presiding judge-elect of the Los Angeles Superior Court, a mentor and a gifted leader on our bench. Judge Lawrence Riff, my former supervising judge in the Los Angeles Superior Court Family Law Division, from whom I learned so many valuable lessons about how to handle the daily press of cases while giving each one the care and attention it deserved. Justice Arnaldo Baltodano. We've known each other for over 20 years now, starting when he was an associate out of law school and I was a junior partner at Hadsel and Stormer. I'm excited to become his colleague again in this new role. And Zoe Yuzna, who also wrote a letter, another former associate, who took the time to send the commission some very kind words and reminds me that you never know whose lives you touch and in what ways. I want to thank as well those who took the time to speak for me today on my behalf. Judge Virginia Keeny. We've known each other since law school and the beginning of our very careers, and then grew to become law partners and close friends. It was you who inspired me to apply to the Superior Court after I watched how deftly you conducted your courtroom in Van Nuys. Judge Margaret Morrow, thank you for being a role model and a mentor. I can always count on you for wise counsel and excellent judgment. As I've told you, you remind me in many ways of my other mentor, Judge Mariana Felser, a revered figure who also sat as a district judge on the Central District of California, for whom I was privileged to clerk. And Judge Samantha Jessner, just finishing her term as presiding judge on the LA Superior Court, where she has been a beacon of transparency, communication, and courage, expertly steering our court through so many challenging crises. Thank you for your leadership and unflagging support. I want to thank all the justices of the Second District who are here today or maybe watching online, particularly those I had the good fortune to work with as a pro tem justice in the Third Division, the eminent presiding Justice Lee Swally Edmond, Justice Ann Edgerton, and retired Justice Louis Lavin. You all taught me so much in that short time. I want to thank my new, brilliant colleagues in the Second Division, the one and only presiding Justice Elwood Louis, and Associate Justices Judith Ashman-Gersh and Victoria Chavez, as well as outgoing and now presiding Justice Brian Hofstadt, who have all been so welcoming and so kind. I want to thank as well my larger community of colleagues, partners, associates, co-counsel, and opposing counsel who taught me how to litigate both zealously and with civility. The list is far too long, but I have to single out my mentors, Dan Stormer, Barbara Hatzel, Barry Litt, Mark Rosenbaum, Paul Hoffman, and my former partners, Randy Rennick and Cornelia Dye. I want to thank both those judges I appeared before and those I worked alongside who showed me how to be the kind of judge that is prepared, thoughtful, and fair. Among them, the Honorable Fernando Olguin, Dolly G., Hernan Vera, Michelle Williams Court, and Teresa Traber, and virtually all my colleagues on the LA Superior Court. All of you helped to make me who I am today. Finally, I want to thank my family, Tom, my husband of 26 years. I cannot imagine a more supportive partner. My son, Ben, who is not able to be with us today because he is 2 months into a 2-year commitment with the Peace Corps in the small African country of Lesotho. Ben, I'm so proud of you. He tells me he will watch this eventually when he gets enough Wi-Fi. I want to thank also my mother, sister, and sister-in-law who came to LA to be with me today. Rebecca, my sister-in-law, you have been such a wonderful addition to my life. My sister Lissa, thank you for always being here as a confidant and trusted advisor. And my mother Elizabeth, thank you for always showing me unconditional love. I thank you all for coming to share this day with me. I'm sorry only that my father did not live to see this day. He passed away 4 years ago. He took me seriously, intellectually, at an early age, and I think he would be pretty proud of me today. So thank you all for being here, and I hope you will now join us for a reception, and thank you once again.